Hi, it's Luke from the One More Songcast. What's the number one thing you should always check, especially when you've got a videographer on your podcast today? You should always check their footage and their camera, and to make sure that they're in focus as well. But unfortunately, I've been that guy, and Jake was ever so slightly out of focus in the episode. Now, the only reason I'm bringing this up, I would usually ignore it, is because I don't want you to get the wrong impression of our new studio. It looks fantastic. And as you can see, I've gone away and I've learnt, and I am now fully focused in this environment. Well, I hope so anyway. So I want to apologise to Jake. It was a fantastic episode though. So we both decided we didn't want to take it down because the conversation we had could never be replicated if we did another episode again. We're going to keep the episode in. It's a shame. It's one of those things. We move on. But I really hope you enjoy the episode. It's all about music videos. Are you missing a trick with the way you do a music video? Is there something that you've not quite learned off a proper videographer? And one of the best around, I have to add as well. Hope you enjoy the episode. This is weird for me. This is the first time I've actually filmed it today. So
what?
Yeah.
This is?
Yeah, because Lee did it last time, didn't he? And I've not sat here and done anything yet. So
I mean, it seems like it's all set up. It's the first time that I'm normally in your position, making sure that everything's recording and levels are right. And
right. Hello, welcome to the One More Songcast. My name's Luke, and as you can see, we're in our brand new studio. Today, I've got a very special guest with me. We go back about a year and a half, something like that. And he's not a musician, but he is a videographer, and we're going to be talking specifically today about music videos. So that's our main topic. But first of all, let's talk about how we met, Jake.
Yeah.
So, sorry, I've not even introduced you. So, Jake Rainford, videographer, photographer as well.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to put a label on it because I do so many different things. Yeah. But yeah, I would say videographer, creative individual, some would say, because that's where I got the name, because people basically said, like, what do you do for a living? And I couldn't really answer it. And a guy, when I used to live abroad, a guy was like, so you're a creative individual? And I was like, I'm using that name for the business. And that's where it's all came from, really. So
what year was the business formed then, under creative individual?
It's probably been around for about 6-7 years.
Yeah.
But I've been doing like creative stuff for probably 10-15 years, to be honest.
Yeah. And I have to, obviously I've worked with Jake and we'll get onto that, but you are probably the best, one of the best around, I'd say, especially in this area. I'd like to think so, but I'm just blowing my own trumpet. I think people should blow their own trumpet, to be honest, but there's a lot of good creatives out there, but everyone's got their own specialities and niches, for example. Yeah.
And I think what I'm quite good at is like trying to get what's in someone's head out onto a piece of paper or a website or a video. Then it's and
this is going to tie in nicely to the music video side as well, I think, today. Just before we do move over to the music video side, obviously you're a videographer, which I imagine entails a lot of different jobs day in, day out. I don't imagine any days the same, is it, really?
No, I mean, some of them I get thrown some really interesting projects, and that's what I love the most about being creative. Is it's like every day is different.
Yes, yeah. What's the sort of, I say weirdest? I can't think of another name for it, but so I mean, I've heard a story, but I won't maybe not go into that.
How X-rated do we want to go?
We don't mind. Not there's no holds barred on this podcast. But most memorable jobs for you?
Most
in
memorable
your career
jobs
so far.
So I filmed Giants Live with like all the strongman.
Right.
Which was quite a good one. So like filming like people like Eddie Hall. Yeah. So I've done a lot of that stuff within like the sport industry. I've filmed brands like Vimto. I've been all around the world filming for various different projects. But yeah, it's one of them. You don't really think about it too much. You just do it. Yeah. So like when a brand contacts, whether it's big or small, every project's the same.
Yeah, that's crazy. Do you ever get that sort of imposter syndrome, or you fully immerse yourself now? You've overcome all the barriers.
I do it all the time.
Yeah,
I think that's part of being creative. You want to be better all the time, so you're always like thinking to yourself, I don't deserve to be in the position I am, but you just crack on, don't you?
Yeah. And we want to get in. So we've just recruited James Walton, who's going to talk to creatives who aren't musicians. So we want to hear your full life story another time with James.
Yeah.
But today, as I say, more on the music video side for us because we're the musicians, I guess. Let's talk about how we met. So was it about a year and a half ago?
Yeah,
something
a year
like
and a half ago. So we've me and a bunch of my friends, we go to this pub called The Crown.
Yeah.
All right. And we went there for like nice civilised meal. We thought, let's get some food, have a couple of pints. Fair enough. But then when we walked in, obviously you was like ripping it on the microphone. And I thought, this guy's flipping good. And I think I recognise you from somewhere, because obviously we're both from like the Chorley area.
Yeah.
And I think some of the lads that I was with knew who you were. And then, yeah, you got us in the party mode, if you would, from like some of the songs that you sung.
Yeah, it was a welcome change for me, I think, because I'd been to the Crown about 2 or 3 times and there was nobody in the pub. It's not the biggest pub downstairs anyway, is it? But I remember doing a couple of gigs and thinking, there's absolutely nobody in here. And even that night, I think when you came, there was a Peter Kay tribute act upstairs, weren't there?
Yeah.
And it wasn't until like 5 minutes before the start of the gig that you guys came in, I don't think. So I was having them same feelings as I was getting changed in the car, like, oh, here we go again, sort of thing. And you did make the night. It was great. You were sort of up and moving about from the start, really. So it made a good night.
I think the one thing that we noticed, that you played to the room, like you played like one Jerry Cinnamon song, and we all got up, and then that were it. You kind of knew what we wanted.
Yeah, but you had your small children with you as well, didn't you? So it was cool. It was
good. It was a really good night. And then obviously, as soon as I thought that I need to speak to this guy, because that's what when you're in a pub, it's networking.
No, you're right. And my ears always prick up when someone says they're a photographer or videographer, because I find it fascinating. I think it's probably one of the best jobs to have, to be fair, if you're very good at it like you are.
I think there's a lot of crossovers with music and video production, because I know I've got a lot of friends who are DJs, and when they produce their own music, and essentially videographers do the exact same things, but it's not audio they're playing with, it's visuals. So it's the same sort of concept of layering footage and effects. It's the same with audio.
No, I get it. Yeah, it is. And obviously, then you said you were doing your podcasting and stuff like that. So, and I just started this podcast around that time. I think it probably was around then. So, you talked about helping me set up and stuff like that. And then it's obviously materialised into me then starting to songwrite and obviously you filming some of my music videos as well, which is why I want to keep the topic to music videos today, I think, and talking about your experience with that and also working with me and stuff as well. So music videos then. So what's your effect been in life with music videos and your relationship with music and music videos, especially being a videographer?
I mean, I remember early days, like when you used to watch music videos on TV. I remember like just being fixated on the actual videos and like trying to work out why the hell that makes sense in the video.
Which a lot of the time it doesn't, does it?
No, it doesn't. It really doesn't. And there's one, I can't remember the bloody song, but I can remember the music video where there's all monkeys playing in a band.
Ah, yeah.
I can't remember what it's called.
Yeah, I know exactly.
And there's another one that looks like a potato guy. And this is what I'm saying, that sometimes a music video can gel into your head.
Yeah.
But I can't remember what the song was, but I can remember what the music video was, because I'm a very visual person. I think I've never really been. I'm into my music, but like I've compared to someone like yourself, for example, I've always been fixated on the visual side of things.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a massive link with music videos, especially probably because we're similar age, aren't we? Growing up like in the early 2000s, I think that's probably when music videos were at their pomp, I'd say.
Yeah.
Especially like in the house, we used to have like the Hits TMF on
100%.
all the time. I don't know if that was my choice or my parents' choice. I'm not really sure, but I just remember like sitting and you get the same 10 videos on a carousel, wouldn't you, like playing? And there's some really vivid memories of watching some of them music videos in the early days.
That's the shame with like Spotify. It's like you don't really watch music videos as much these days, do you? There's only like the certain one that you think, oh, go onto YouTube and watch it. Because you're listening to it on these streaming platforms where like 10, 15 years ago, you'd watch it on the TV. And you'd be like, oh, that's a new song by such a person.
Exactly, yeah.
So I think it's important to keep that alive, though, because like you say, having a decent music video can be the deciding factor if it gel in your head or not.
No, exactly, yeah. I just remember vividly, like, some of them, especially on a Sunday night before you go back to school and you had the music channels on, and there were some of them songs like, I think, was it Daniel Bedingfield, You're Not the One? And that song, you get that dread before you go back to school and you're about to go to bed, and that used to be on, and I'd be like, and that's really stuck with me, that, and I've no idea why. There's also that Evanescence one where she's like jumping out the window. Have you remember that one?
Yeah. Well, it's like your Robbie Williams, that one, Let Me Entertain You, when he like strips down into a skeleton at the end.
Yeah.
But it's like, I don't think the younger generation now will have that same effect with music videos.
No, well, I was going to get onto that actually, because I don't think music videos do have the same effect as what they used to, especially in the early 2000s. It seemed to be maybe the be all and end all, didn't it?
Yeah.
Like you'd remember the music video more than the actual song. Whereas I don't think it has as like we're oversaturated with content and digital media and stuff, aren't we? It doesn't maybe seem to have. I don't think it's as important to a song anymore, is it?
Yeah.
But it should be, because in my childhood and maybe your childhood, like the music video was really important.
I think as well, like people's attention span these days is like 3 seconds or
Yeah.
something stupid on social media. I don't think a lot of like the younger generations will sit there and watch a 3-minute music video.
No, it's crazy though, isn't it? 3 minutes.
It's like 3 minutes is nothing, but like they just this TikTok brain of them just like having short snippet videos. Like a lot of the time now, music's going viral through TikTok videos.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like the trending audio sort of thing. So it's almost like you've got to sort of change the way you market your song these days.
No, you're right. You're almost using the music video with little snippets of the music video on social media, or even like your song can go big from people just dancing along in the kitchen to it rather than the actual music video.
Yeah.
It is strange.
It's like that. I mean, I'm not into his music, but like KSI's latest song, and everyone's been taking the piss out of it on social media, but he's cashing it in because he's just getting so many monthly plays.
Yeah.
But it's like you say, social media and the way music videos are people engage with them, it's changing all the time, and I think we need to just keep it alive because it's where music. From a childhood. That's what made music stand out for me.
I've noticed actually that they're bringing music videos back to Spotify. Well, not back; it was never on it, but they're bringing music videos over to Spotify. You don't get that luxury, but your big artists like your Ariana Grandes and stuff, you can watch their music videos now. So maybe that might help. I don't know, potentially, but I don't. I mean, obviously these music videos cost millions, don't they? And I think maybe big artists are putting less effort into music videos, maybe, than what they used to as well. Yeah. It doesn't seem to be the emphasis on that, really, you know.
Yeah, I think people are just being a bit more because I always think it was that Lewis Capaldi song when he did a rip off of Club Tropicana. You not seen that?
Yeah, I've seen it.
And I think like again, I don't know what the name of that song is because I'm not a massive Lewis Capaldi fan, but that makes me remember him as an artist and that. So I think it is important that they just. We need to keep it alive.
Definitely.
We need to keep it alive.
I agree. So, as a videographer, then, compared to other aspects of videography, how difficult? I mean, have you done many music videos in the past?
I've done quite a few. Yeah, I remember doing one when I used to live abroad in Malta. I did one for a local artist over there, and still to this day, when I go on holiday, if I see him in a pub or a bar, I always go up to him and say, "Oh, how you doing, Jay?" Yeah, and it's still like, I mean, it was. Probably 6 years ago it was before COVID, so I don't know how many years ago that was. And like I probably was only with him for a couple of hours. But from that one little interaction, he still remembers my name.
No, that's cool. Yeah.
But yeah, I've been doing it for quite some time. Yeah.
How does it compare in terms of difficulty getting it right? Compared to other aspects of videography, like your corporate stuff, and
I think with your corporate things, everything has to be perfect because like when you're going into a business, the lighting has to be perfect, the skin tones have to be perfect, everything has to be in focus. It's almost being a bit monotone.
Yes.
With music videos, it bends the rules. Like it's almost like the more quirky and almost. I've got a lens that's broken, for example. It's broken. I never use it on any other shoots apart from like music shoots. Because it lets light in from loads of weird angles, but it creates that weird shape and that weird like effect on the video, and everyone goes, "Hey, what effect were you using?" I'm like, "No, the lens was knackered." So the difference is you can be a bit more freedom. Like there's a bit more freedom when you're doing a music video.
With there being more freedom though, is there more pressure to understand the song and the artist though? Because you've got that freedom, but maybe sometimes too much freedom because if it doesn't work for the song or the artist.
Yeah, well, it's like trying to find a fine balance between that because you have to create some emotion through the video. Like it's all right having it looking cool, but they need to watch that video and come away and gone, right, I need to figure that out. Do you know what I mean? If it's just a way of I need to figure that out or I felt something through watching it, you've done your job as a videographer.
I agree,
in my opinion.
Have you ever done like a story or a narrative through a music video rather than just, not, I wouldn't say just, but cool shots and capturing,
the one that we've done recently. I think that's probably the more story driven one, and I love it. I think it's just, you're almost intrigued by a character, and it keeps you sort of engaged to see what the outcome is. Yeah. 9 times out of 10, it's just like a band wants like a cool looking video with cool lighting, and it makes them look cool. But I think if you went down that emotive route, I think you'll stand out from a lot of other bands.
Yeah. On that topic, then, what makes a good music video? With some of your experience, but also from what you've seen. But also, have you ever watched music videos that you don't rate, and why do you not rate them? If that makes sense.
From like your bigger artists, you mean?
Even so, yeah. Well, more so, I guess, because you'd think they'd get it right.
I think sometimes you just need to do something that's memorable. If you're a bigger artist, like, I've not seen anything recently. The only guy I can think of, that Oliver Tree, for example, were his really quirky, weird music videos. Yeah. They gel in your head. Yeah. But going to like your smaller artists, I think doing less about the band and more about the meaning of the video of the music, in my opinion, is probably the way I would go with it. But yeah, it's a bit of a tough question to ask, really.
No, I get it. Yeah, I wonder sometimes to some bands, because I know a lot of bands and artists don't like especially at the bigger levels, don't like doing music videos. Do they? They find it tedious because it's a couple of days and stuff. I mean, I really enjoyed it, but it's a different thing.
I think as well, because you're making the artist turn into like an actor essentially. Yeah,
and that's not the bread and butter, is it? I mean, I find it hard as well when I wasn't particularly acting, was I? But you do feel a bit self-conscious, I guess, don't you?
Yeah,
but,
like it's like I'm telling you to do something that feels a bit out. Like, I'm not giving too much away about the music video that we've done with you, but in like awkward situations and awkward places where you feel a bit of a swallow because you're like, I'm in this cool location in the middle of nowhere doing something. Which I can understand why bands won't like doing music videos, but you've just got to get away from that barrier. I mean, again, it's just practicing it.
Yeah,
I bet it's the same thing when you stood there in front of a pub singing to people. I bet the first one's a bit hard work. It gets easier and easier over time.
Yeah, I think sort of engaging with people at a gig and stuff is more natural, isn't it, than sometimes just like singing down a lens. Like even doing stuff like this, I don't know if you're the same, because you do a bit of podcasting and stuff at your studio, don't you? Like talking down a lens, I find that really difficult. If I'm having a chat with you, it's a bit easier. But I don't know sometimes how YouTubers and stuff actually just stand and stare down a lens.
Again, it's just practice. I mean, when I started making YouTube videos probably 8 years ago, I used to do like these really crappy travel videos, which I need to like do a review on my later videos and just sort of compare them to the two. I look back at them and I was so awkward and nervous talking to the camera. But now I'm just like, I don't give a shit.
No, yeah, I get it. You should react to your old, like watch.
Yeah. I need to be fair. Cool, it's on the list of videos that I want to do, but yeah, it's just a piece of metal at the end of the day.
Yeah. Like, no, I know. It's just because there's no soul behind that lens, is there? It's just nothingness, isn't it?
I suppose it's similar to like Zoom calls. Like when you're doing a Zoom call with someone, there's that like delay of response, and it's just you're losing that human connection. But with a camera, you just got to practice it.
No, I get it. So talking about that sort of shift we've had between music videos not being as important as what they used to be, do you think they are making them as good as what they used to be, even though they're not as important? If that makes sense.
No, I think what they're doing is going bigger budgets, but they're meaningless.
More meaningless, right?
I think the new ones, the bigger budgets, but I just don't think they're just missing the mark of what a music video should be. Yeah. When you've got like the Verve, what the song where he's like walking forward and everyone's in reverse in the background. I think that's the right video I'm talking about.
Oh, you mean Bittersweet down the high street? Yeah.
Like the budget of that video is probably hardly anything.
Well,
but it just gels in your head. Yeah. I probably couldn't name you a music video in the top 100 charts now.
No. The most, I sound really old saying this, the most recent one I can remember is that cartoon that they did with Post Malone, was it, for the Spider-Man thing? But that felt more just like an animation from a film rather than a music video.
Because it will have been for the Spider-Man into the Spider-Verse, wouldn't it? Yeah. No, I mean, Yeah, I can't think of one recently.
Yeah, you're right though, because I think that's the beauty of music videos sometimes, is the fact that it doesn't always require a massive budget, does it? Because that's the art of it.
Yeah, of course.
It's like, I'm trying to think of other examples, but where they're sort of meant to look dated and a bit like maybe some of the stuff that we've done a little bit as well. But that's sort of the beauty of it. So when you are throwing massive budgets, it's like, well, what do I do with that money? Sometimes you don't need that money for a music video, do you?
Well, it's like, it's the same with like movies. Like they'll throw a load of money and do all this animations and CGI, and sometimes it can be a bit soulless. Do you know what I mean? It's like, I think going into this AI sort of realm that we're moving into, like with graphic design and websites and all that sort of stuff, you can get AI to do a lot of it.
Yeah.
But it loses its sort of meaning.
Yeah.
And I think the same with music. Like you're gonna get AI robots doing music videos and doing songs, and you're gonna be able to tell that, I think, because you're never gonna be able to get that like authentic, emotive sort of feel from a.
They started doing them voice simulators, haven't they? Where it's like Johnny Cash singing, like, I don't know, whatever.
And it's impressive, but I think you're going to get to the point where it's going to go full circle, that it's going to be like, right, this is actually made by a human.
Yeah.
And you'll have, at the moment, when you do something on social media, you have to say, like, made by AI. It'll be the other way around.
Yeah. That'll be the what, I can't think of the word, but yeah, I get what you mean. I don't know what I'm thinking of here, but yeah.
You know what I mean? I just think it doesn't matter that you've thrown a load of money into something. It's the meaning behind it.
Yes, yeah.
And I just think that's, AI can never sort of achieve that. You know what I mean?
I think AI would struggle to pick out something that's really odd and memorable and a bit, like you say, quirky. I can think of like a Travis music video where he's just a big egg walking down the street. It's not very well filmed, but it's memorable. And could AI sort of have the intelligence to spot something like that that's really simple? Do you get what I mean?
Yeah, I 100% know what you mean. Yeah.
No, it is a tricky one, really. So should we talk about our music videos that we did together?
Yeah.
So
sure.
First of all, so it was my debut single, weren't it? So when did we film that? In about, what was it, July or August, I think, around?
I think.
Oh, no. The song came out in June, didn't it? So it was maybe early June we filmed it, something like that. My first ever experience of doing a music video, so I didn't really know what to expect. But I quite like go and check it out on YouTube and the rest. I quite like that we'd filmed it in Rosendale, which to me meant something. And I think that was part of your planning as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Can you talk to me a little bit about the planning behind the music video?
Yeah, I mean, I know you had like a vision of the song and what the song meant to you.
Yeah.
And it was trying to like I said, go to the roots of where you're from.
Yeah.
Or where you live, or you're from Rosendale?
Girlfriend's from Rosendale.
Yeah, so there was a connection.
Wife.
There was a wife. You have to get used to saying that. There's a connection there, so it was like, right, we'll use that as a location, and then it was like the meaning behind the story. But like when it does some like cool, dingy, like sort of vintage looking locations.
Yeah,
we've got an old vintage lens that's probably about 200. I don't know how many years old, but it's very old. So everything looked.
Where did you said it was from Russia, that lens? Was it?
It's a Russian vintage lens, yeah. And it's got like a really interesting sort of effect. Like it does like a really weird, like distorted bokeh look. So we filmed a lot of it on that. So you wanted to go down the vintage route. We got the vintage locations, vintage lens on a modern day camera, and you got a really weird sort of distorted look on things, and I just think it worked perfectly for the song.
Definitely. So it was all mainly focused around that tunnel in what was it, Waterfoot, which is a little town in Rottenstall or in Rosendale, and I used to go running through there quite a bit. I like to go for a run and try and discover things, and and found these tunnels. I think they were old sort of railway tunnels, but have now sort of been changed into sort of walking routes and stuff. And I thought that'd be quite good, but I wasn't sure whether it'd work on a music video. But you took to that, didn't you? That tunnel, and it seemed to,
because we've got the capabilities of like the low light capabilities in the new cameras. Like any location like that, they think, it might not work. Like we'll make it work.
Yeah. And there was that lamppost, weren't there, in there as well?
Everything just like the textures on the wall, everything just fit the song, what you was wearing, the tones, everything just looked right.
And we were on the lookout for a chair as well, weren't we? So
we had to go to the barbers and rob one of
their
their
chairs. Barbers as well, John. Andy Jones Barbers, and he has that chair sitting in the corner, doesn't he? So we got that, and that seemed to work quite nicely as well.
Everything just worked perfectly for it. It really did. It's like the one that we've done for the new song. It's got similarities in some ways. It's still got that rustic look to it, but there's a different sort of spin on this new
I'm interested because I've only been the protagonist in the thing.
It's it's an interesting one. I'll not give too much away.
So just talk to me briefly about how you storyboard a music video. So you've just recently done My Two. How do you sort of storyboard that from scratch? A little bit like how do you get your influences? And stuff?
It's weird because when the ideas for the latest video, like obviously we came down to sit down and have a meeting, then you're just bouncing ideas back and forward, and eventually you come up with some sort of wacky idea. And again, going back to what I said earlier on, I've got a very good way of understanding what a vision in someone's head and putting it onto paper. So essentially, it's not too much storyboarding, so I'm like drawing every scene. I just had an idea of like, right, I need this part of the song needs to be this sort of setting. Because we could go to a location, it could look cool, but like on our previous shoot, a car gets thrown into the mix, and then you've got to work around it. So you've got to be very fluid, and I think that just comes down to like experience of videography. Like there's an amount of times where I've turned up to a shoot and things haven't gone your way, or it started raining. You've just got to think fast and adjust. So going back to the storyboarding side of things, it's having a baseline shot of what you need, and then adjusting and working ways to navigate that on the day. Having
a couple of plans, and because I think we'd had to change a couple of shots, haven't we, on the day, because there was a sort of car in a not a vital area, but in a certain part.
But if the same thing as well, if you be more fluid, like some of the shots in the previous music video, we didn't script it. It was like, oh, that'll look cool. Just stand there a second. Oh, that light flare's coming. Oh, it looks amazing. You've got to be fluid.
Yeah, you're not working to a script specifically, are you? You, like you say, you've got 3 minutes to work with, and I guess you can then collect as much footage as you want. I guess not the pressure, but the hard job is then condensing it down into the 3 minutes, isn't it? So it is almost like a playground for you, I guess, isn't it? When you're out, because you can film as much as. Do you find sometimes you can overfilm? Well, I guess with any videography, but with music videos,
I always overshoot anyways. It's just it's probably a bad habit, to be honest. But I'm always in the idea of I'd rather have more footage than not enough. So like I've always got 2 or 3 scenes for one section of the song. So if like one just does not resonate with that section of the song, we can switch it out. So it's just a case of just overshooting, because like time is money at the end of the day, and you want to make sure that when you've allocated that day to film, that we've got everything we need out of it.
Oh, that makes sense. It makes sense. So moving over to what we've recently just filmed, obviously not announced it or anything yet, but it was interesting. And again, it's that improvisation. So my mate James, who is being part of the podcast now, he was then used on the day pretty much. How were we using him originally? He was just sort of, I can't remember, but he then became basically the main character of the...
He was going to be like the guitar soloist section, weren't he?
And I just couldn't imagine him doing that.
And then I was like, the way he was dressed, his vibe, he had a flat cap on, I was like, he would just fit perfectly in these settings. So,
well, it was all based in Wigan. We'll give you a little preview. It was all based in Wigan, weren't it? And he's from Wigan, so we kind of used his flat cap and everything, and made him the main character, I guess, didn't we? Essentially,
and it worked perfect. Honestly, it worked so well. Like he just fits the song, the setting, everything.
The pigeons.
And his acting ability as well. Like everything we throw at him, he was like, let's do it. And like I said, I don't want to give too much away, but the footage of that I feel like it's another level above what we had last time.
Brilliant. Looking forward to seeing it. So obviously you bring a crew with you, Eloise and Jack. How have they experienced, how have they enjoyed the experience of a couple of music videos that they've put into their CV? Have you had feedback? Do they enjoy that more than others? Or?
Because a lot of the time we're doing like corporate videos, and like I said, I love doing these music videos because it allows us to be bit more creative. It's a day out for us all. We're all doing something a bit different. It's not too serious. It's like, because if I was dead regimented with you and serious, it's got to be the fun for both of us. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So yeah, they've enjoyed the whole process, and think I want to continue doing more of these.
Yeah. Has it given you I know you're a busy guy, but has it given you more of an incentive to maybe give maybe Jack or yourself more chances to do more music videos? Like, you know.
Yeah. I'd love to take on more of them, 100%. I just don't know, because I'm not in the music scene like yourself. I just don't know that many local artists.
I see. Yeah.
I think I just need to get to the pubs a bit more and do some more networking.
Get fishing around, especially over Christmas. There'll be plenty out. Yeah.
One of my friends have said to me, I need to get my logo and email and a QR code on beer mats. And dish them out everywhere.
Yeah.
Just go around dishing them out. Because I mean, when we was in the pub at the Crown and I went over speaking to you, all my mates was like, "Oh, but I was talking about work again." But if you don't speak to people that you find interesting, well, you're never going to go anywhere.
No, absolutely. Just going off music videos a little bit. So, how do you think the videography world is moving? Obviously, everybody wants a presence now online, don't they? So, as you say, you're going into your pubs. You'll have me that wants a music video. You'll probably have some gym goer that wants some content for his. Have you found that like your profession is just going from strength to strength?
Yeah, I mean, when I went over to Malta six years ago, I was at the cusp of it all kicking off big time. And when I went over there, everyone was like, I need video. Yeah. And there wasn't many videographers out there at the time. So when I lived over there, it was like I took over the market very quickly. And then when I moved back to the UK, we was a couple of years in ahead of that, if you would. The demand was through the roof, but there was a lot more videographers.
Right.
And what people tend to do is the videographers will go for the cool looking stuff. So you'll see a lot of videographers working within the fitness industry at the moment because it's cool and trendy, and you get to film women with tight shorts and this, that and the other. You see a lot of videographers moving over to that. But what happens is it dilutes the sort of value of what videographers do. They just think you click a button and you go, but there's so much more into it. Where the space of video production is changing a lot, because a lot of people just think they can film it on the phone and edit it on CapCut. Yeah. But if I give you an 8K 10-bit 442 footage and try and edit on your phone, good luck.
No, I get it. It's quite hard to reverse people's thought processes as well, isn't it? Like you say, a lot of people think they can do it themselves. Yeah. But for specific things, especially music videos, I think the only way is really to get it done properly.
Yeah, well, it's like with podcasts, you get a lot of people starting their own podcast in the living room, and they'll buy a cheap, shitty microphone from Amazon. Yeah. Put it in front of them and record a podcast, and the audio's terrible. But to them, it's a podcast, and the audio's fine. But if you listen to it, you'll be like, that's not a good podcast.
It's a balancing act, isn't it? Because I think in some ways you've got to get started somewhere, haven't you? And God, we made some horrendous, you see our first episodes and stuff, it was shocking. But, you have got to get started. But at the same time, like you say, the audio side of it, the video side of it, I mean, the amount of learning I've had to do, and I've obviously had to get you involved with setting this up with us as well, because it is so complex, isn't it? And it's important to have good videographers in the area, I think, and I'm glad I found you when I did, if that makes sense. Cause
I'm glad I found, like I said, likewise with you, because we've had some interesting projects, and there's going to be more in the future as well.
Definitely, yes. So you've not done the podcasting for a while, have you?
No, so with the podcasting, like, again, it was a trend that everyone wanted to do. Yeah. And more, I just wanted to become like not an expert, but understand how the lighting works, because I listen to and watch a lot of podcasts. So I was like, I'll create my own, understand how it works, buy all the equipment, rent gear out to people, consultate, do consultancy for people who wants their own podcast. So I don't do enough of podcasting for myself, which I want to change, but again, it's how much time it takes to do it. You've got to prioritise, haven't you?
You have to have it all basically set up, don't you? That's of course. What I've learned. It's I used to enjoy watching your podcast, so I watched it for a bit, to be fair. It was a couple of years ago, weren't it, that you were doing it properly, but nice, because you had Eloise just come on board, hadn't you? And there was that episode. I've watched all of them, they're good.
Yeah, I need to do more of them, because I've got friends who live abroad who was like, when you're doing another episode, and I've got family members who live over in America. And it's like, they like watching it because it's just unfiltered northern crap chat, you know what I mean?
No, it's true. It's the same thing though, isn't it? It's like podcasting's come a long way, and I guess you have to move with it, don't you? It's not as simple as just popping something on Spotify now, is it? You know, it's got to be a video podcast. It's got to look good. There's so many of them out there now. You've got to stand out, haven't you? So
the bar's set so high for podcasting.
Yeah.
The issue is with podcasts that people don't stick at it.
No.
They think they'll do 3 episodes and it's going to make them have sponsorship deals. You've got to be consistent with it. You have to be, or else otherwise it's pointless doing.
No, I've spoke about this before. I think it's one of them where you get no reaction at the start, and it's not like we're getting massive reaction now or anything, but it slowly grows over time. But you put the way I was editing it, taking me days. You put it out, you're like, right, I'm ready now, and it's like no one's really watching it, and it's like. And it is easy to just go, fuck this, you know. But you've got to keep going, haven't you?
But the longevity of the episodes, like people will watch this episode when you've got millions of people following you. When's a big thing because it's going to happen. When you've got millions of people following you, they'll watch this stuff back.
Yeah.
It's not like Instagram where you post content and then a week later it's irrelevant. It's like YouTube. That video's on there and it's got longevity. Yeah. And I think the same with podcasts. I think people need to change their mindset with that.
Yeah.
That it's not just going to, like you say, be irrelevant the week after.
No, I agree. Right, I want you to, just as we sort of summarise this episode, I want you to maybe explain to a musician why they should maybe do a music video in this day and age. What do you think the benefit from it?
Well, I think
a proper music video.
Music video. I think number one, it's pulling the meaning out of the song because you're forcing to put the meaning into a visual. It's putting yourself out of comfort zone. It's future proofing you from a personal brand standpoint because, again, if you're into music, you want to be successful. Yeah. And when you are successful, they're going to want you to do music videos. I just think the benefits from it from all sort of directions is there's benefits from all different angles.
I've noticed, and I think a couple of people have said it to me, in this digital realm where everyone's got to have a presence and a profile, people want to know a lot about you as an artist, don't they? No matter what level you are, you know, your followers will want to know about you from whatever level you are. And I feel like, especially with songs and song meanings, you don't want to give everything away, but it just does give that extra layer, doesn't it, to your song? And
I think as well, although you need to, music video is important, I think your personal branding is the one. I think you need to be so active on social media. Be like authentic, be yourself. Don't be filtered. Like if you look at Lewis Capaldi, I use him as an example because he has, whether you like his music or not, he's a very likable person. Yeah. And the way he puts things out on social media, you need to be all in on your personal brand, and your music video is part of that parcel.
No, it's interesting because if it was Lewis Capaldi, you've used Lewis Capaldi as an example. If it was Lewis Capaldi, and he was just bland personality, I wouldn't particularly go and seek out his music. No. It's not really my kind of music, but I actually don't mind it because you're kind of connected to him in some way, aren't you? Because he's a very likable person. Yeah. And
would Oasis be where they are now if they weren't the characters? If they were just like, no worries. But now because they're like, all right, our kid, and they've created a cult following. Yeah. Would they be? Is their music that good? Do you know what I mean?
Well, yeah, I'd argue not. Some people would, but yeah, no, I agree. I think there's better bands musically out there from that period of time. But like you say, they had a little bit extra, didn't they?
It's their personal brand that won it. Yeah, that's what it is. It's what made everyone get the same haircut. Yeah. And that's why your personal brand, your music video, it's all part of the same parcel, and it's so important as an artist.
No, I think it's definitely worth musicians considering working with people like yourselves, like you say, because it is even more so now because, you know, people aren't getting out to the originals gigs maybe as much as they used to, especially originals gigs. It's not like people are discovering bands here, there and everywhere. Bands aren't really coming through anymore, if that makes sense. So that online presence is bigger than ever, isn't it? So like you say, if you're working with somebody like yourself, it can only be a good thing for musicians in this age, really.
Well, I mean, it's just marketing, isn't it? It's just that's all it is. It's marketing, personal branding. Like whether you like it or not, or you don't like social media, or you're trying to be too artsy to not market yourself. You'll never make it without the marketing and personal brand.
No,
you never will.
No, I agree. No, so I want to thank you for
No,
coming on today. We
That's
are
what I
going to
enjoyed.
finish with a game, but
Yeah.
the logo and everything you see, music videos, is all for you, isn't it? We work together on every project, so
Yeah.
thank you for that. I
No,
appreciate it.
I've enjoyed it, mate. I've enjoyed being on this side of the camera for
No,
for a change.
yeah. I'm a bit rusty getting back into this. It's I'm you're navigating what to ask next and stuff, and it does take a bit of time, like anything, to get back into podcasting, doesn't it? So I hope I've done you justice
and
today.
I hope I've not rambled on, because I've
No,
got
not at
a
all.
tendency to absolute talk nonsense, but that's what it is. Northern banter, innit?
That's it, mate. So where can we find you then on all the platforms?
So
How do people get in touch?
On Instagram, it's just Jake_Rainford,
Yeah.
or my business page is Creative Individuals, and it's the same across all platforms, really.
Yeah.
But yeah, just hopefully you'll see me in your local pub, and I'll be going, what guitar's that, pal? I'll do a music video, and I might be half cut by that point, but you never know.
I've seen a few local artists do music videos in pubs, so maybe that's the next one.
100%.
No, massive thanks for coming on, mate.
No,
I
it's
hope
been
this
good.
is all recorded properly, and I think we're good, aren't we? So
Yeah, we're all good, yeah.
yeah, so hopefully we can get this episode out in the next couple of days. So thank you for coming on, Jake. Looking forward to continue working with you, and we will get you back on with James to talk about your whole videography career. So that'll be interesting, because I don't know a lot about it, do I? So yeah.
Thanks for having me anyways.
Thanks for coming on, mate.
Make sure to like, subscribe across all the social platforms,
You know
and
it.
wait for the latest video.
There we go. Thank you,
be
mate.
good.
See you soon.
See you
Cheers.
later.
Thank you.